Hello, welcome everyone. My name is Todo Sarah Jensen, and welcome to my channel, Unboxed God, Detoxing Religion, Discovering God. That is the purpose of this channel, for us to be able to deconstruct religion and get to know the real God. That has been my journey, and I'm journaling my journey so that other people as well that might want to follow suit will probably know the direction to go about it. Today's message is going to be part of the playlist Let's Talk Religion. And this title of the message is Religion is Addictive. You hear me right. Religion is addictive. For people that know my story, 2 years ago, I came to experience God in a very transformative way, if I must say. 2 years ago, I was 24 years already being born again Christian. And as of today now, it is 26 years ago I became born again Christian. But until the last 2 years, that was when I began to know the real God. Even though I knew I was born again, I never knew who that God is. And I don't even know whether I knew what born again really meant. Born again is just basically you say this what do they call it? Sinner's prayer, and you ask for God to forgive you your sins, and you just automatically accept that from that day onwards, you are now a new person in God. But a lot of us are a new person in God without even knowing that God, and we just get ourselves involved in religion, and the act of religion itself becomes an addiction, and we just get used to it. This word religion is addictive was actually said by John Lennon in one of our heavenly conversations we have with heaven almost every app there. We were talking and I asked John Lennon a question, which I can't remember what that question is. And he said, Tolu, do you know religion is very addictive? And it was like my eyes was open. I'm like, wow, you are right. Religion is an addiction. You can say, okay, Tolu, what does addiction mean? Addiction is a powerful dependence on something that gives temporary relief but long-term damage and keeps you coming back even when you want to stop. It's a cycle that feels impossible to break. And I will tell you that is what religion is. It is it is something that gives you a relief in the moment, but in the long term, it causes a lot of damage. Religion has caused a lot of damage to my life, to my relationship with God. And I have been currently on learning to be able to relearn God. And people from other faiths or people that have never been in religion at all, when they get to heaven, they are able to experience God so much faster because there's no need for them to unlearn all the junks that has been imputed into them over the years of being in religion. And I always tell God in our conversations that I always love Him to communicate with me using an analogy. And God has used so many analogies through our course of conversations that some of them I'll be bringing it in into this conversation. And God gave me an analogy recently. He said, the addiction to institutional religion is like a gambler perpetually drawn back to a casino. The system keeps you trapped, not because it consistently makes you rich. It makes the house rich, of course. The pastor is rich, the church is rich, but because it continually whispers promises of the big win and plays upon your deepest desires, ensuring you keep putting money and time into the machine, even when all the evidence screams that the house is designed to take everything from you. Isn't that sad? God gave me that analogy. That analogy didn't come from me. It was in one of our conversations. He said that. And this is really sad because this is where a lot of us are. We are stuck in this addiction and we don't even know how to come out. And you might be asking me, Tolu, what makes you to think that religion is addictive? Well, in my experience, Religion is not innocent. Now, with what I know, it is engineered to hook you. So they offer just enough guilt to keep you obedient, fear to keep you dependent, approval to keep you performing, routine to make you feel safe, spiritual language to make it feel holy. It becomes like a cycle. And it's try harder, you fail. You feel bad. You promise to change, you start again. That's the cycle. You try harder, you fail today, then they tell you that you failed and God is no longer interested in you. And before you know it, because you're feeling bad, you try to do some religious activities, maybe like praying, like fasting, like praising God, like going out there, maybe to do evangelism. And then you start feeling good again. That, yes, I'm in his good book again. But just like any addiction, religion gives you a temporary high and not a actually, let me rephrase that. Just like any addiction, religion gives you a temporary high and a long-term emptiness. It keeps you coming back for your next spiritual fix. That is why people that are addicted to drugs, they have to take it. They are reliant on it. They can't help themselves because they are so used to that feeling. So, are you still in religion? Are you still going to church? Are you still going to mosque because of the feelings it makes you feel? Even though you know that you are lost within you, even though you know that you are empty, you still carry your Bible because it makes you feel good to go to church. Religion doesn't heal you, it manages you. I wasn't healed in religion. I'm grateful to God that God sought me out 2 years ago when my husband passed on. I don't know how I would have survived if I was just going to church and just listening to these boring messages. There's no rhema, there's no revelation. If I didn't have the opportunity to speak to my husband in heaven as I do now, I don't think I would have been able to cope. Or maybe I will be clinically depressed because religion offered me nothing. It never offered me a hope. All it offered me was its burden. And it doesn't free you, it controls you. It doesn't lead you to God, it leads you to itself. It's leading you to religion. And imagine you've been in church for 24 years, like myself, born again, and I still wasn't led to God. I was just led to religion itself. So, what am I doing in the church? What am I doing in this environment where they don't know about God Himself? And do you know what? Religion has this mechanism of seduction and control. The word seduction came out of Tiffany, who I told you about in my previous video. But if you've not watched the previous video, you might not know what I'm talking about. Tiffany is in heaven. She used to be a witch on earth, but made it to heaven. And Tiffany said, "Tolu, do you know religion is seductive?" And I was so flabbergasted when he said that religion is seductive. I said, "What do you mean by religion is seductive?" Because the act of religion is a way of you luring you in, and they luring you into the church. They seduce you. They make you become an active participant in this deception. You believe their lie when everything is screaming is a scam. That is so sad because that is what we've all experienced. Where we think we're on the right path, where we think we know God, but we don't even know who God is. But you are seduced into the act of thinking that you know God. Because, of course, religion is addictive because it uses the same tool as every manipulative system uses. They use fear as a leash, keep people afraid, and you can control them. Tell me, what fear have you been afraid of when you were in religion? For me, fear of hell, fear of judgment, fear of God's anger. Fear becomes the chain around my soul. To the extent that when my husband passed away 2.5 years ago, I didn't know whether he was going to make it to heaven, but he told me, said, I'm at peace with God. And I was wondering, what made this guy to be at peace with God? What makes my husband, let me not call him guy because he's not just a random guy, he's my husband and he's still my husband. I'm like, what make him so at peace? But my husband was a very close friend of God, but he couldn't get me out of religion because even if he tried, I would not even have listened to him. He had to get to heaven, and then God had to reach out to me and to start teaching me himself on what the way of kingdom should be, not the way religion has presented it, because you are dependent on the pastors, on their product. You feel you need the pastor, you need the prophet, you need the system, you need the next sermon, you need the covering. You can't trust your own spirit. Religion addicts you to needing a middleman all the time. And you feel you cannot just go to God without this middleman. And what does he do? The wicked exploits this addiction. I will tell you, a lot of pastors are wicked. Those false teachers, they seduce people with promises of breakthrough, emotional manipulation, spiritual threat, the flattery, the hype, and the spectacle. They know exactly what they are doing. They are building dependency. They are feeding your addiction. They are keeping the people hooked. How many of you are so hooked to the church that you feel like you can't serve God without being in church? You can't serve God without being in the mosque. And followers become participants in their own captivity. Just like an addict returns to the substance, people return to systems that enslaves them, even when they know it's a scam, even when the fruit is rotting, even when God is not in it. Addiction blinds them. And I'm so grateful to God that God forcefully took me out. And the only way that God was able to forcefully took me out is for me to die first. And how did I die first? By taking my husband away, God brought me to my knees because I depended so much on my husband. I could say that when my husband was here, I love him more than God. I love him. And because of that, like it was the God right in front of me. And all of a sudden, that God was taken away. What do? You run to your Alpha and Omega. It brought me to my knees. Something had to die in me for me to be able to see the light, the new light of God. And I don't know, maybe you have experienced something in you that seems like death. Maybe something happened to you. Maybe you lost someone. Maybe you lost your job. Maybe something just happened just to open your eyes up to start seeing that God is not in this addiction. God is not in this church that you are going, because this addiction has blinded you to the real God. And addiction needs a reward, isn't it? Religion gives one, but it's fake. They tell you the loss for riches. Sow this seed and you'll be rich. Give this offering and you'll be blessed. Serve this system and you'll be successful. It preys on human desire of wealth, status, miracle, shortcut. So people want crown without crosses. They want no surrender. This is still a conversation of today with God on Matthew Robert Payne's YouTube channel, my co-author. God said, Tolu, for you to know me deeply, you have to learn to die daily. And I asked God, I said, die daily? Yes, God said, you have to. I die daily as well. So, how do you think you are going to have the crown without no surrender? Are you going to be intimate with God without no real transformation? Are you going to know Him with just motivational preaching, dressed up as spirituality? Some, they are following the hyper grace. Some, they are following the what's the second one for the hyper grace? Oh, how can I forget the opposite of hyper grace? I'm trying to, let's see whether legalism. So some of you are following the hypocrites, which everything is, oh yes, you can do whatever you want. And then you've got the ones that are following the legalism, like, no, you are not allowed to do this. Everything is strict, strict, strict. You do this, is something happened to you. It's either no, yes, black and white. God is not no, yes, God. It's not a black and white God. Let me tell you, God is so unpredictable in love. You don't know who is going, who you think that is lost upon and is still loving that person, holding on to that person dearly. He's the only one that's got the key to the gate of heaven, not you. Me, I'm not going to decide who goes to heaven. It's only God that decides that. So why do you think you have to continue to feed your addiction by going to a place where they cannot even tell you the real God is? But of course, you are going for the vending machine gospel. Give God something to get something back. Pray, tithe, fast, give, and heaven must pay you. Do you even yearn to know the real God? Is it about the prosperity? Is it about what you gain? This isn't relationship. This is spiritual gambling. When you listen to the message that suits you, not transform you. People addicted to religion crave sermon that makes them feel good, not sermons that make them whole, not sermons that convicts them, not sermons that directs them. God has spoken to me in a loving way and in a harsh way, and I know He loves me, but He knew that He had to talk to me so that I can wake up, wake up, wake up. And religion feeds emotional desire, not spiritual growth. Yes, that's what it does. And then you are on this hamster wheel, endless motion, no transformation. There is the clearest evidence that religion is addictive. People stay busy. That's the hamster wheel. People stay faithful. People stay active. People stay involved, yet nothing changes in their life. I was there for 24 years, nothing changed. But for the last 2 years, at least, I've not been to church. I miss nothing. Nothing, absolutely nothing, because I've been able to build this rich relationship with God where I depend on daily rhema from Him. And tell me, I've got so much rhema in me, so much of His insight, of His riches, that I need an outlet like this to pour it out there. So that as I'm saying this, I am learning and you are learning as well. I am trying to digest and regurgitate all what I've learned. And Papa said they are here, ever hearing but never understanding, ever learning but never knowing the truth, ever serving but never becoming free, ever religious but never transformed. So just like a hamster on a wheel, exhausted, moving, committed, but going nowhere. It feels holy. It looks spiritual, but it is addiction disguised as devotion. Religion creates movement without transformation, noise without intimacy, activity without encounter, commitment without freedom. But the decision is yours. Will you let the addiction keep you, or will you allow love to lead you out? Because God is willing to lead you out. Jesus can lead you out. Religion traps you in circles. Jesus breaks the cycle. Religion makes you dependent on system. Jesus makes you dependent on Him. Religion offers fear. Jesus offers freedom. Religion exhausts you. Jesus restores. Religion is addictive. Only His presence is transforming. I have experienced His presence, and I continually experience His presence. And I cannot stop that experience, because I must tell you, God Himself is addictive. So you can just exchange your addiction with religion and just replace it with your addiction with God. My own addiction now is with God. I just love my Papa. I've written 10 books on the Father's Art series on Amazon. When you search my name by Tolu Sarah Johnson. And this is where I pour my heart out on what I know about him now, which is so different. And this is why this channel is all about unboxing God. Because a lot of us think we know God, but we don't know him. And God is saying, here I am. I'm right in front of you. You can see me, but I can see you. But if you're willing to see me, you will see me. So I hope you've been blessed by this message, and I hope you're blessed. God bless.